guy, so I horse pack. And rather than haul all sorts of junk up in the mountains, this is it. This is what I sleep in. When I sleep out in the yard, it's what I sleep in. So it keeps the moisture off of me, keeps me off the ground, and more so it protects my sleeping bag. So we've covered camping and if you're driving away. We're starting to cover if you're walking away. And having children, you run into a problem when you have children because, well, this can be problematic. We looked for a way that how could we do something with our 72-hour kit for our children that would work well for them, both as a 72-hour backup plan and as just everyday camping. One place you don't want to go cheap, again, is a sleeping bag. Don't buy a $25 Coleman bag and think you're going to be happy with it. It's just not a good plan. If times are tough, for years, I slept in two of them. I put one inside another, and when I packed in the Uintas, that's what I slept in. And that was good to zero, believe it or not. It was heavy and it was thick, but it worked. It did the trick. Once we did a little better, then I went out and bought a serious Cabela's bag. And now we gave our kids good bags for Christmas years ago. At any rate, you want to protect your bag, and you need a way. You can't leave it compressed all the time because it'll wreck the fibers. The loft is what keeps you warm. And I just happened to be looking one day, and these Army duffels were about the same size as the cotton storage bags that Cabela's gave you. And I thought, wow. And I had this epiphany that we could store their sleeping bags in there with their pad and their big blue cup in the bottom. And if something really went bad, then they just slip this on their back and they walk away, right? Well, now we use this stuff on a regular basis, and we don't want to interconnect the things that they just have for 72-hour kits, because that's when you get into trouble. Well, where's this? Where's that? I don't know. It's under my bed. Oh, my food's gone. Well, why'd you eat it? I never thought I'd use it. So my mom sewed these little duffel bags for our kids, and their 72-hour stuff is just in here, right? We have a big cabinet in our garage that all this is in, so each person has a shelf. They have their sleeping bag, and then they have this. So if they're going camping, if they're going to girls' camp, they grab this thing, they throw it in the truck, and it's got their sleeping bag, their pad, and usually they keep an extra set of clothes or something in there. Or if they're going to girls' camp, they'll just cram all their gear in here, and there it is. These are $20, and they're tough. Man, they're tough as nails. My sleeping bag is so happy in that thing. So now, we all catching the vision? Okay? Something goes really wrong. I grab my backpack, and I am the pack mule for the family. I've got the water, I've got the cooking, I've got my own gear, and I've got the stuff we're absolutely going to have. Yes?
Can we know where to get some of these things? Like, where does that bag come from?
Oh, sure.
Where did the cooking stove come from?
When we get to the end, I'll talk about that. So this stuff, I'm the pack mule. I've got everything the family needs. And if we have a regular supply of food and water, we're going to get by. We're going to make that happen. If you got the handout, I put a few notes under each one. So camping, accessibility, ease of use. Is it stupid simple? Is it easy to refit? Is it durable? Is it reliable? When you look into the disaster scenarios, if you're going to stay put, accessibility is not as big a deal. You just want to know if the house falls in, am I going to be able to get to it? Same stuff, ease of use, stupid simple, easy to refit, durable, reliable. One of the problems with easy to refit is don't buy anything you can't refit, you can't get easily. For instance, these things, these little Coleman, they're not cheap, these little propane canisters, but everybody on the face of the earth has these, right? Everybody has these. That's easy to refit. Now, if you're leaving by auto, like the people in Harriman, they had, I don't know how much notice they had, but it wasn't much, 5-10 minutes. Accessibility now suddenly has changed. It's a 5-minute launch time. You want to be out of there in 5, maybe 10 minutes. Well, this gear is all organized in such a way, and we use it so much. So 5 minutes, I'll be out of here in 2 minutes. I roll my truck out, big blue box goes in, I grab my sleeping bag, my backpack, it's in, kids are grabbing theirs, it's in, and we're driving. That's it, we're out of there. If you're evac on foot, you've got more time because nobody's standing behind you cracking the whip saying you got to go, trouble's coming. So then that's when we have the chance to think about it, refit equipment around, and figure out how we're going to get everything there and get everybody there. But we still have it organized in such a way that it's doable. And it's doable with some organization, right? One word on disaster leaving. Being the grab and go class, we realized in our house fire, this is a fire safe, by the way, 1,700 degrees. I keep it from my fire experience at our house. I have a pair of slippers by my bed. I have clothes by my bed, as in a pair of sweats, jacket. We had our house fire the weekend before the Olympics, and it was so cold that as we were spraying water on the fire, it was freezing when it hit the ground, which I could talk for half an hour about house fire. At any rate, if something was really catastrophic and we didn't have time to get this, it's a fire safe. If it doesn't get over 1,700 degrees, the contents are fine. We'll go in, scrape it out of the ashes. We have our important stuff in here. If you notice what's on, again, for those who have the list, I believe, well, let me back up for a second. There are 3 places you do not want to have to go in an emergency. ATM or a bank, right? Because nobody has cash. ATMs and banks are going to get overrun. Stores and gas stations. Those are the 3 places that are just going to be horrific to get anywhere near in a real serious emergency. Even something as dumb as the Harriman fire. And when I say dumb, I don't mean to belittle them. I'm just saying that's an isolated incident, and the fire wasn't to the houses. The cops just kind of overreact and, you got to get out. Okay. ATMs, stores, and gas stations. So everything I have here, and my truck is to kill that. So I don't have to do that. My truck's never on less than half a tank. In fact, that's another product of the police department. You could actually get a written reprimand if your car was on below half a tank. So, because for emergency purposes. It's a hard thing to train yourself to, but it's a great thing. You've got half a tank, you've got a couple hundred miles to travel. And a couple hundred miles from Salt Lake, you could probably find gas pretty easy. Cash. My brother went to Iraq. He was a tank commander back in 2003. He was there for a year, and then he went back and spent another year. His first job was to run the bank. He went to the bank, and people were lined up all the way down the street. This is after America took over. And he went into the bank president and said, "What's the problem? Why are all these people here from dawn to dark?" And he said, "Well, we don't have change." "They're all standing here for change?" "Yeah, they have these 500 denarii notes, and we can't give them change." "Okay, where's change?" "Central bank." "Well, why can't you get to the central bank?" "We don't have an armored car." "Tank commander, I got an armored car out front. In fact, I got 4 of them." So they'd pile in their tanks, they'd drive down to the central bank, they'd haul back all sorts of little bills, cash it out, and people, pretty soon the lines got smaller and smaller. Well, I learned the lesson from that when he told me the story, and now we keep somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,000, 1s, 5s, nothing bigger than 10s. Nothing bigger than 10s, just little bills. Quarters. I probably got, 40, 50 bucks in quarters, because, right, phones, not cash machines, but vending machines. How many people keep quarters? Of course, we have all the important documents in here. Got all the church stuff. We got birth certificates, passports, birth certificates, Social Security, church membership record, that's a big one. Insurance policies, auto titles, my horse registrations, deed to the property, burial plot deeds, wills, master keys. It's like a Seinfeld episode, doesn't it? I thought of that tonight when I lifted that out. But these are the original keys. These are the originals of all of our keys. So we have the masters that we keep in there. And I used to keep some